set. So there you go. The proof's in the pudding, I guess.
There you go. You started by saying that don't try to be great at everything as a head coach. Pick three things. So my question for you is, how important is it what three things you pick versus how you're teaching and executing and developing those three? Like, would you spend more time as a coach making sure your three things are the right things, or how to teach those?
That is I'm not just saying this, that's an unbelievable question, because you just made me think about it for the first time. And what I would tell you is, as a young coach, depending on who you've been influenced by, and in my case, the three guys I worked for were Rick Barnes, Gary Williams, a Hall of Famer. I worked for him at Ohio State, and Danny Nee at Ohio U, who had great success there. Later went on to coach Nebraska. And so when you're an assistant coach, especially when you're a player who played for a great coach, you're constantly evaluating what you're learning from those your mentors, and you're gradually developing on your own a coaching philosophy of how you believe the game should be played when you become a head coach. So to your point, I always value toughness on the defensive end. So to give you an idea, defensively, we played 98% man-to-man. Even back 20 years ago, we switched a lot, but we didn't switch out of convenience. We switched to take offense away from the opponent. I was big on that. And rebounding was part of our DNA. So on the defensive side, those three things were critical to us. The toughness of man-to-man, I would call scouting report defense, which involves switching, taking away opponent's strengths. And I really believe, like you hear football coaches say this all the time, make a team play left-handed. Make them do things they're not used to doing. And I really feel that way about basketball. What is the opponent's strength, and how do we take that strength away so that they have to go to something else that they're not as good at? That's the Belichick theory of defense right there. And then rebounding, I just feel, is always part of toughness. And so on the offensive end, we wanted to try to get easy baskets with our fast break, flow into our secondary break to keep the defense off balance, and then, run offense that got our best players shots. And a lot of that had to do with misdirection, tricking the defense, etc. But to your point, those keys to my coaching philosophy, whether it was three on each side of the ball, was a result of thinking the game as an assistant and figuring out the game based on what I thought was going to be important for my teams to win. And there are things that Gary Williams did every day in practice that I said, well, I'm not going to do that when I'm a head coach. That's not the way I want to do it. Or Danny Nee or Rick Barnes. So you, as a young coach, in order to determine what's important to you, you really have to evaluate the game, who you are, how you're teaching, and have a vision for what the end result looks like. See, even if you haven't ever called a play in a game yet, Jordan, in order to become a really good head coach, especially with no experience, you have to have a vision of what good basketball looks like. And I always tried to have that vision in my head.
How much do you